Diani, any hot topics you want to talk about?
Just that if you are in possession of a green card and you've had any kind of criminal history, I don't care if it goes back to 1998, do not depart the country. Because what we're seeing is, I call it my cruise people, my green card, my,
That's funny.
my green card clients, they're in possession of a green card. They're not United States citizens. They've had these green cards, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they decide they're going on a cruise to the Bahamas or Mexico. They will be fingerprinted. So if you know you've had any kind of
What would happen?
criminal
So
history.
do they stay in that country? Like, what would happen in that scenario?
They
Like,
will be allowed back in, but
Okay.
they're probably going to take your green card and place you
Wow.
in removal. So that's one of the hot
So they
button.
get flagged. They
Yes,
fingerprint it and then
yes.
flag.
And they all come to me and they say, I've been living here since 1998,
Wow.
1999, 2000, or even I've renewed my green card in 2010 or 2008
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it went okay.
So
They-
wow.
So a lot of individuals with maybe one offense, maybe a controlled substance offense, are considered low priority. So they weren't really being targeted. Well, now when you leave the country, you're asking for admission.
Okay.
You're not a United States citizen. You are asking to be admitted back into the United States. And it's pretty common now. I've seen it over and over and over again, where once they print you and if anything pops up at all, they're probably going to hold on to that green card and
Wow.
begin some kind of proceeding.
So going to cruise is
against
dangerous
you.
then.
Yes.
If you have criminal history.
If you have
Yes,
criminal history.
absolutely.
Wow. Look at that. I didn't know
So
that.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about the application for citizenship status this day and age?
Right.
Is it more difficult? What do you recommend to folks?
I think it's becoming more challenging because remember, at the naturalization for application is where the service, immigration, corrects all its mistakes. So if you applied fraudulently for that B1, B2, that original visitor's visa that brought you into the United States and you pulled a fast one in your home country, meaning what we see a lot of is women that are married or not married claiming to be married or vice versa, meaning they go to the consulate, they're in, I don't know, let's pick Jamaica for example. There are not lots of agencies that can verify information. Or if you're in India or you're somewhere else and you're applying for some kind of visa to enter the United States and you've obtained fraudulent documents and you've lied on the initial application, naturally, and you'll get away with it. You'll get your green card, you'll live here happily and everything is fine. Then you submit that naturalization application. The moment you do that, the service pulls your entire immigration file. They pull the documents if you got your green card in your home country at the consulate. They pulled if you've applied for a B1, B2. They pulled whether you married somebody to get a green card. So that is a place, and everybody gets shocked when they're sitting at their interview and the officer asks them, who is Jane Doe? That is the spouse that you claim to have had back in India in 1985 that you never had.
Wow.
And that is where the service corrects itself. Or if you've submitted some kind of, investment visa and you come into the country and you think you're in, and they go back and they say, where was this business that you had in India? Again,
Where are your
Yeah.
investments?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. So this is where the
wow.
service corrects itself and they can rescind or they can take away that green card because there was some kind of fraud or some misrepresentation in along the process of your immigration setting.
And so that's good information for people that are trying to do their own citizenship application
absolutely,
process on their
absolutely,
own. I've never heard that
absolutely.
either. Like that warning should be out there.
It's where they correct their and people will say, but they let me. Of course they did. There's a consulate in Dubai, and there's
Yeah.
a million people streaming through daily, and they have not done their due diligence. They know along the way.
Eventually you'll get busted.
Eventually, if you know and there are waivers for these. There are
Sure.
waivers for frauds. There are waivers for misrepresentation. So to walk in blindly to a naturalization interview, if and only if you've been the choir boy or the choir girl along the way, because that is where because once you become naturalized, now you're under the United States Constitution. It's a whole other process to take that away. The green card, not so much. They can rescind that. Any immigration judge can rescind your green card. So that is where I would say to be the most cautious.
Wow.
If you don't want to use an attorney, at least complete a FOIA for
I
your
think you
immigration
should.
file.
Use an
At
attorney.
least get it.
So that you can verify what
verify-
was provided before.
You can corroborate your story. At least you have your entire file in front of you, and you can make sure. Even if sometimes you forget,
Sure.
So sometimes you really do forget, but you want to make sure you don't have a lot of moments of forgetfulness.
Yeah,
because then
like
it
I said, no
turns into a lie.
How long does it take to get that information back, that FOIA
FOIAs
request?
take about maybe 6 months. That's what
Okay.
I've seen. It can be done electronically. USCIS.gov, I believe, can give you information about submitting a FOIA electronically.
I know in my practice I've had to make some requests, and I haven't done it for many years, but there's an affidavit that the spouse signs, the affidavit of
I-864, the
the
affidavit of support.
So I've used that in alimony cases where the spouse was sponsored by the
financial documents.
and we used that to support. Well, no, there was this was in addition to all the other things that have happened in this marriage. You know, he signed the affidavit of support for this wife, and now he's left her.
And it's good for 10 years, and it can be enforced. It's a legally enforceable document. We don't see a lot of action on the affidavit of support, but I do warn clients, you're signing an obligation for 10 years to be financially responsible for whomever you bring into the country. I haven't seen a case of anybody really enforcing it, but it's a legally enforceable document.
I have seen divorce cases that
Good.
use
That's good.
so for support.
Vivian, do you have any